Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Simon, Keith, good to see you.
Hi.
You absolutely, come say hi to your wife, no doubt. Simon, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to see you all. Rabbi Brown and Cantor Cohen have the night off, and so it's a privilege and pleasure. They haven't seen each other in a couple of nights. To welcome back our cantorial soloist emeritus, Naomi Tausig, to join me on the bima tonight. And it's wonderful to be with all of you. We have a special Shabbat for those that are here and those that are watching online, as this whole weekend we are acknowledging International Refugee Shabbat, which was technically a few weeks ago, but we're going to extend. We're going to play through to this weekend and to acknowledge our incredible Refugee Settlement Committee and the work that they have done, and the families, some of the families that we have settled most recently in the congregation. You will hear more about that later on in our service, but we'll begin with words of blessing, Shalom Aleichem, as we welcome the Sabbath angels.
Shalom Aleichem,
142.
Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Just before our service tonight, I had a chance to sit with a student from Langara College who was doing a report on refugee settlement. It just so happened that he was doing that work and wanted to come and do a little interview for some project that he's working on, and it was this Shabbat. So we were sitting in my office and he was asking me about the money that the synagogue and the Jewish community has raised to do this kind of work, particularly most recently for Ukrainian refugees. And I was explaining to him that it's not the money. The money is certainly a tool, but it's actually the money in the hands of the people that are able to take that tool and to turn it into blessing and to turn it into open doors and to opportunities. And so we kept focusing on the funds that were raised, and I said, it's not the funds, it's the people. And it really is the people that have done far more than any amount of money could raise because of the hearts and the soul that they bring to this work. And so we want to acknowledge, as we will again later tonight, the members of our Refugee Settlement Committee that are here, and invite them to come up and lead us in a reading and then the lighting and blessing of the Shabbos candle. So if I can invite all of those that have been part of this effort to come join us down here on the lower bima. So we'll come right here. So we have Mike Levitt and Kathy Lowenstein and Sally Karlinski and David Goldstein and Noli Cole and Bauer Issa as well. I thought Kim, come on up too, as the chair of our Tikkun Olam, our Social Justice Committee. Kim Worker, who's also a member of our board, has been intimately involved as this as well. The reading is on that page in front of you, Sally, or on page 121, and I'll turn the microphone on.
Okay, I will start. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. Go ahead.
As their brightness reminds us
of the generations of Israel who have kindled light.
So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
So if you could all go over to the candles, and maybe Noli will take the middle candle and light the other two. Answering the eternal question, how many people does it take to light the Shabbos candles? It takes a committee. which means it will take longer. I think the left one might. Yeah, it's going to make it. Okay, good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, and thank you all for all that you have done to help us fulfill that mitzvah of welcoming the stranger and to be extensions of God in the world. Cantor Tausig.
I think this tune may already be an old tune, but I haven't been gone that long, so hopefully you'll join me in the Chadodi, page 138. Lecha dodi dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem ol tiferet v'letehila lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzi mitoch hafecha rav lach shevet b'mekabacha v'hu yachamol alaychem la lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5.
Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orach, kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai, alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat, nekabela.
We'll rise and face the door, verse 9.
Boi v'shalom teret bala gam v'simcha uv'tzahala toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We'll remain standing. We turn to 263 for Chatzi Kaddish as we make a separation, a holy separation between all of that warm-up blessing and welcoming and the central prayers of our service, page 263.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba
Amen.
ve'alma divrachute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon v'yom hechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv ve'imeru Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach Le'alam olam me'amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudusha barichu Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechem hata Damiram ve'alma ve'imeru. Amen.
Page 264.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
You can be seated. For those that have not been paying attention, I guess, to the news or whatever, reminder that Saturday night we're going to set our clocks forward, right? We spring forward. And so for me, it always reminds me actually of this prayer. I'm not going to say it actually always does, but in this moment, it's reminding me of this prayer. Because in a moment, we're going to say the prayer for evening. And as we move our clocks forward and evening comes later, it gets dark later and later as we move into this time. And when I first moved to Vancouver, I thought the sun was never going to set when we hit the summertime. And then when we hit the winter, I thought it was never going to come out again. And it reminds us of our connection to nature and to the cycles and to earth. And Nico Slobinski's back from Israel. Nico, it's good to have you. That's good. Welcome back. Baruch haba. A connection to the earth and how much our life is actually not so in our control. Right? We don't make the sun rise or set. Though some of us might think that we do or claim that we do, we don't. And in Jewish tradition, when the sun sets, Shabbos begins. You don't get to decide or discuss, I'm not ready for Shabbat yet. It happens when it happens. And so this pushing of the clocks also reminds us to pay attention to the time of day and to how we're using that time, how we're using daylight. And even with that more daylight, are we just filling it with more work? Or are we filling it with more people and more relationship and more opportunity for connection? And dare I say, are we filling those extra hours of sunshine with bringing sunshine and light into the world, into each other's lives? That's Zman Kodesh. That's holy time. That's time worthy of blessing. And so let's bless time. Page 265, Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishrotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umabdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 266.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach b'chukacha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha leolam leolam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 270 are the words from Torah, the words of Michamocha. Tradition teaches it's the song the Israelites sang as they crossed from the shores of slavery through the parted seas to the shores of freedom. Though these words are in Hebrew, it is, I think, the words that everyone who has ever crossed from a narrow and I want to say encapsulating, but that's not the right word, from a narrow place that has confounded them into a place of openness and possibility, like arriving at a new shore and a new land, in any language. If one gives blessing for that and sees it as not something that they did, but some act of grace, some act of holiness, they sing this song. Who is like you, God, in all the world? Who can make such miracles happen? And so for wherever and wherever you locate the blessing in your life that you are here, because somebody opened the door for you and didn't close it behind them, because somebody created an opportunity through a welcome committee, a government, a synagogue, a church, or whatever, to welcome in the stranger, to get you out of the place that you were, a place of peril and danger, and into the place that you are now of safety and security. We sing this song. Michamocha, page 270.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה העליינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. אמן. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen.
I have to just share one memory. My rabbi of blessed memory growing up, Rabbi Gerald Raskin, Alav Shalom, I remember one Shabbos service in our home congregation in the San Francisco Bay Area where there was a child crying in the sanctuary and then laughing in the sanctuary. And I'm not sure anything happened between the minute that one was crying and one was laughing, but both were uncontrollable and quite loud. And even, one could say, even distracting. And there's a point to this story, and it's not about distraction. Rabbi Raskin stopped the congregation and said, I know you hear the crying. And I know you hear the laughing, and that child is actually praying. Because if you're not crying for what's going on in the world, you're not praying. And if you're not laughing with joy for the fullness of life that either sits around you or that Shabbos brings, then you are not in an attitude of gratitude. He may not have said it exactly that way. That's a little 2020 kind of attitude of gratitude thing. But I do remember, and this is as a 12 or 13-year-old whose parents dragged me to synagogue, that they had to drag the future rabbi had to be dragged to synagogue too. I wanted to stay home and watch Dukes of Hazzard. That was on Friday nights, and they didn't have a DVR back then, so if you missed it, you missed it. But I remember this moment when he said, if you're not crying in shul or laughing in shul, you're not in shul. So those children who are wonderful, Omed and Omer, Omed and Ahmed, you are reminding us. You are reminding us to truly be present and to pray. So sing it out. Sing it out proud. And we'll sing with you V'shamru, page 272.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ubayom Hashvi Shabbat vayinafash. Yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yam bada bim bam bye, Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftachu, Fi Yagid Tehilatecha. Eternal God, help us find the words that we might speak with you in prayer. We'll rise the Amidah, a conversation with the Eternal.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chasdei avod v'imahot u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava melech ozer Moshiach magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham be'ezrat Sarah אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Bless you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated.
I just had a lovely moment. Can I share that?
Please,
Because
go ahead.
in the prayers, this is not rote for me anymore. I'm like, do I remember how to lead? But of course I do. But when we got to winter, summer, and I'm like, it's a beautiful day. Have we had Passover yet? There was this moment where I'm like, I wasn't in it like I used to be. And I had to think about it. And I thought, that's a blessing. I'm glad that I got to actually think about it and not just be in rote mode. So thank you. such a treat.
So had you not prayed for rain, that might have been, good for the rest of us this weekend. But,
True.
But so be it. Page 279, Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Hamecha El Karov Lechol Korav Pnei Elavadecha Vechonenu Shefoch Ruchacha Aleinu V'techazena Eineinu V'shuvcha Letzion Berachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion Letzion Letzion.
Keith Nussgard, who is here in the back from Saskatoon, has a favorite prayer in our siddur that I don't get to read often when you're here because you're back in Qualicum Beach now. It's on page 278. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
We'll take a moment for our own private prayers of hoda'ah, of thanksgiving, thanking God for the blessings in our lives.
Ve'yo kulam yitbarach v'yitromam shimcha malkeinu tamid leolam va'ed ve'al kulam yitbarach v'yitromam shimcha malkeinu tamid leolam va'ed v'chol achim yodu chasala v'halalu et shimcha be'emet Ha'el Yeshuateinu v'ezrateinu Selah Baruch atah Adonai Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'eh Lehodot
only a people so familiar with conflict and strife would have so many prayers and words for peace. Page 282, Shalom Rav, a prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atah Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki Atah Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov v'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol leit v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, Mavarech et Amo Yisrael, B'Shalom.
We take a moment for silent prayers and meditation.
Amen, 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 amen.
We turn to page 373 for the 371 for the Mishaberach, a prayer for healing. As we ask God's blessing of healing upon Louise Adrian, Susan Mishler, Lynn Wolfson, Rabbi Lindsay Bat Joseph, Natalie Wormelli, Yom Kin Godan, Semach ben Menashe Halevi Rivkala, Meyer Tzvi, Mayor Zalman ben Rachel, Daniel Gottesman, Bill Shaw, Claire Columbia, Jack Karp, Matt Good, Alicia Eckersley, Carla Zavot, Janet Gelb, David Shlomo Gorney, Andrea Jarzabak. If there are others in need of this prayer for healing, people whose prayers and thoughts you have brought with you here, if you could rise and call out their names. May God grant all of them a refuah shlema, a complete recovery. Refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, a renewal of their soul and their bodies. We join together in this prayer for healing, page 371 of Mishaberach.
Mishaberach avoteinu, Makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, fantastic. She doesn't know I'm about to call her to do this, so I hope she's anticipating it. I'm going to, if I can, invite a member of our board, Kim Worker, to come up and share some announcements. We told all the board members, if you show up, the rabbi might call you to read announcements, but I don't know. It was a long Zoom meeting, so.
I'm not in trouble. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to our International Refugee Shabbat Weekend in partnership with the Jewish Immigrant Aid Society, or JIAS. This weekend, we recognize two of our most recently settled families, Esther Zion and the work of the Temple Sholom Settlement Committee, and Urnus Walizada, Yusra, and Mushtaq Sadakat, who were reunited with the aid of cantorial soloist emeritus Naomi Tausig and her husband Keith Nusgard and their family. Please welcome our special guest and partner in our Years of Settlement work, Shannon Weir, Chair of the Anglican Diocesan Refugee Unit. Moving on to a different topic because it's an odd transition, parents with babies are invited to join us for a, for a baby first aid presentation on Thursday, March 16th at noon in Temple Sholom. Enjoy some lunch with us while we learn some pretty vital and amazing things to keep our babies safe. It's free to attend, lunch will be provided. You must register in advance. Join for the next Torah-inspired leadership study group on Wednesday, March 22nd at 7 p.m. via Zoom with Jeff Balin. Register on our website for our Israel 75 live weekend with stand-up comedian, author, TV, and podcast host Joel Chasnoff. There are events on Friday, March 24th, 6 p.m., followed by an 8 p.m. service. Saturday, March 25th at 10 a.m., a morning service with a drosh by him. And Saturday, March 25th at 7:30 p.m., Living in the Land of Milk and Funny. The Men's Club presents Cold War with China, another bit of a shift in topic, Wednesday, March 29th at 7 p.m. with Professor Paul Evans. Registration is now open for Sisterhood's annual Women's Seder on Saturday, April 1st at 5:30 p.m. Temple Shalom members are invited to join us for our congregational second night Passover Seder on Thursday, April 6th, 2023. Young Families Second Seder, led by Rabbi Dan and music specialist Annette Kozicki, will be held at 5 p.m. And the Adult Second Seder will be led by Rabbi Dan and Cantor Shani Cohen, and that will begin at 6:30 p.m. It'll be catered by Robin Power. Information is on the website for all of those things and registration. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kim. Sorry to have surprised you with that. It's so lovely to see so many faces that we haven't seen in a while here tonight. Some who have come back from traveling. I'm tempted, Nico, to ask you to come and give us an update on Israel, but I don't know. I'm feeling in a good mood right now, and I don't want to be depressed. Tobin and Sandra, who are here, it's been a while. Welcome back. We're glad that you're here. Keith and Naomi. Simon, you haven't been in shul in a while. I called your parents. They said they'd send you, so okay. I wasn't here, I guess. But particularly tonight, as has been mentioned now a few times, we celebrate and recognize the work that this congregation has done, and not just at this moment, but truthfully the work this congregation has done historically through many different waves of refugee and settlement efforts going back to the Vietnamese boat people and probably even things before that that I don't know about, and many parts in between, to be the embodiment of that mitzvah, of that commandment to love the stranger, to remember that we were once slaves in the land of Egypt, that we were once the wandering Jews of the world, we still are to some extent, and that others wander, and that others are looking to get out of the place that they are in, and all that prevents them from doing that are closed borders and closed hearts and closed doors. And just as they had opened them for us, and just as we have known what it is like for them to be closed in our faces, It is our mitzvah, our shlichut, our sacred obligation to open them for others, not only for our Jewish community members, but for everyone that we can. One of the most powerful things, among the many powerful things that I appreciate about having moved to this country and becoming a citizen here, is its approach to welcoming refugees, its recognition of the important role that Canada plays, and it's one I know that we have learned through a harsh history of when none was too many, a history that was learned on the backs of our own people, but one that Canada has now, I think, although never perfect, fully embraced as part of its mission and role in the world to be an example. Even, in our modest numbers, we punch above our weight class, as they say, in the work that we do and the example that we set for others to follow. We do that in lots of ways, but in particular, and tonight, the work that we do with refugees. I want to acknowledge the work of JIAS and HIAS. HIAS is the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society in the United States. JIAS, the Jewish Immigrant Aid Society, which is based out of Toronto. They have been doing this work, I would say almost since the beginning of Jewish refugees, but those go back 3,000 years. But they have been doing this work a long time. And sometimes they do it in the shadows because there is no refugee crisis, or there's no crisis particularly affecting the Jewish community, but their work goes on, just like the work of the Jewish Family Services here in Vancouver. It has always maintained a refugee and settlement unit, even when it didn't appear like we were going to need it, and then things happen. And through the Soviet immigration and Bosnia-Herzegovina and other places where that unit has to step up and stand up and do things and find the skill and the volunteers and the resources to even relearn skills that they have not used in a while. Important partners in that work, at least since I have been here, have been other faith-based groups who have never stopped doing this work, and in particular the Anglican Diocese has been a partner with us in this work since we began working on the Syrian refugee crisis 6-7 years ago now. We invited Shannon Muir, who, as you heard, is the head of the refugee unit, a volunteer for the Anglican Diocese, to be here tonight. Just before services, she contacted me to let me know. Unfortunately, she's not able to make it, but she did send a message, and I would like to share those words with you to begin. I already began, but to share those words with you. Last year, we increased our allocation, this is the diocese, to assist with the Afghan crisis. So we submitted a total of 82 spaces instead of our usual 40. Many of those people are still being processed abroad, and we expect the Afghan people to arrive sometime this year. Processing for people from other parts of the world has been quite slow since COVID started, and we know that, and we're going to hear more about that from Esther and Zara in a moment, all too well and personally. We have a similar allocation this year of 30 people, which will allow us to monitor all of those people who have been applied for. Our spaces are already all spoken for, though I have pushed her on one more. Bauer, I talked to her tonight about it. Our spaces are already all spoken for, and we are searching for a church or a synagogue to co-sponsor a family of 5 from Afghanistan. Family members who are here have raised the funds and have people ready to do the settlement work. We have another family in that situation, and we're looking for either the diocese or another to provide a slot for us. We especially want to extend our very warm wishes to Temple Sholom and the wonderful families that you have sponsored. We wish them well in all of their Canadian adventures. Thank you, Shannon, for that. We have heard the story of Esther and Zara. I've shared it from this bima. You heard it at different times throughout this long 4-year or so, more maybe at this point, process of trying to bring this family here. We had a service shortly after you arrived to welcome you finally and to hear your story. But I want to ask Esther and Zara to come back up tonight to give us an update. We are 10 months into your settlement or so, and a lot has happened in that time. And we would love to hear more about how things are going, your jobs, your Canadian experience thus far, your aspirations, and just to once again tell you how pleased and blessed we are to know you and to call you as part of our family and friends. So Esther and Zara, if you could join me up here. So once again, welcome. And just as I said before, whatever's easiest for you. If you want me to ask you questions, I will, or if you can share with us just a bit of an update. Tell us what you're doing, how life is for you in Canada, and what's to come, because you now have the opportunity, which I know you didn't have for many, many years in Kurdistan, to actually plan and to dream. Because as we had talked about and we know well, life was so precarious that it had been on us from day to day. And then beyond that, but we'll start there, we know, and I know that you have family that was deeply affected by the earthquake in Syria and in Turkey. And we would like to hear how they are doing, and if there are specific things that we as a congregation or the broader community can do for them or for the whole effort to provide support. So please.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Dan, and everyone for this beautiful evening. It was really great to see you all again. Yeah, and it's honor and privilege for us to be here today, because last year we were celebrating with Temple Sholom online via Zoom from Iraq, but this year we are here in person. We are celebrating Refugee Shabbat, and we are really happy to be here. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. So for our life here, for me, I work at Vancouver Symphony Orchestra. Yeah, I work with development team as a development coordinator, and I'm really happy with my work. And it's really a beautiful, nice environment. Everyone is very supportive, very helpful, and it's really beautiful to have my first job here as a I'm not Canadian, but
You're
soon
Canadian
I will
enough.
be Canadian. Yeah, soon I will be Canadian. Yeah, so that's for my job. And yeah, Vancouver is a beautiful city, and we visited many places, and we went to many beaches here in Vancouver, and the weather is lovely. It's warm. Yeah, everything is very beautiful here.
Thank you, Esther. Zara?
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi Dan, for this evening, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I am very happy to be here with Esther and celebrate in person this Shabbat, Refugee International Shabbat. And it took me some time to appreciate this country. When we came here, we were somehow overwhelmed with nostalgia and homesickness. So it took me some time to appreciate. We were somehow, when we were in the region, we were somehow disempowered, but now we feel so empowered, and we have so many options, and we are already doing what any typical average Canadian is doing. So we are volunteering, we are working, and for my employment, I'm working in Broadway Subway project, so I apologize for any traffic you...
The Broadway Subway Project.
Yeah. So I feel always obliged to apologize on behalf of the
That's
team.
very Canadian also. Just say you're sorry.
Yeah, because every day we receive so many specific public notice or moderate public notice about traffic and everything, night work, noise work. So me and Esther, we are doing very well. We are volunteering with a local community in Kitsilano. And I was always planning, to, like Rabbi Dan is always talking about welcoming the stranger. And we were, for so many years, we were separated for our family. Like Esther and I haven't seen my mother and sister for 10 years. And once I came here, I was reflecting on being Canadian, what that will imply. And the first thing I did is to communicate my family cause to so many local communities in Vancouver. And the response was amazing. They empowered me, they supported me, and just to beat our refugee experience, we are now sponsoring my family. So I have been on the other side. Now I have been sponsored refugee, and now I am sponsoring refugees. So this is the beauty of Canada, just empowering people, give you options so you can be truly human, serving people, caring for your family and the people in it. And I think I will not stop here. So many people, as Rabbi Dan said, are in urgent need, whether it's Ukraine or Afghanistan or Syria. And it was, the earthquake just opened our old wounds, family situation. My mother was in the hospital when the big shock happened. She's now safe, but she couldn't do her operation. Families still in Syria are in dire need of any support. So our instinct was just to support them. We can't sponsor them to Canada as we will do for my family, but we send them our savings just to support them.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so-
Thank you, Zara. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so much. There'll be more opportunities to talk with Esther and Zara over the ONEG. It is just such a wonderful thing to be able to share this moment with you. And as we've said to you many times, though our official obligation to the Canadian government ends in 2 months, our emotional, our spiritual obligation to you and our friendship and connection, that will go on, and hopefully not only to you, but for your, God willing, one day children and generations to come. And just as you have modeled already, we'll open the door and you hold it open for those behind you. So we are a part of you, and you are a part of us forever. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I want to acknowledge again our incredible settlement committee. Sally's getting up to hug, Noli's getting up, David's getting up. You don't have to all get up, Mike and Kathy as well. Andrea, who is not here tonight, but has been very much a part of that work also. And there's one other group that has been part of this, one other couple, and that's Bauer and Shinhat. Now, if those names sound familiar to you, it's because when we first started this work, Bauer and Shinhat, babyless at the time, were one of the first families that we had sponsored as part of this effort. And in an embodiment of what Zara was just talking about, Bauer and Shinhat joined our settlement committee to help Esther and Zara with this transition, to help in translation and to help in the emotional transition that has taken place. But their lives have continued also incredibly. They have 2 children sitting with them tonight who are true Canadians and are just they are prayers in themselves. But Bauer, I'm wondering if you and Shinhat would come up and just give us an update on what's going on with the 2 of you as well. And it's Omed's birthday, or was his birthday, and 2 weeks ago, but it's her birthday next week. So we did a cake and we had a dinner beforehand and sang happy birthday. Please.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. So come just tell us what's up in your life and what are you up to and what's happening.
We are Canadian now, officially
Here, a little closer to the microphone.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago we got our citizenship. And then we have Ahmed. Next Wednesday he's gonna turn to his first year. I'm still working on my.
Just a little closer.
Yeah, I'm working as an accountant. I just today officially they told me they promoted me to a higher level, and then thank you. And also I'm continuing to get my designation CPA, so I'm working full time and studying part time. And then my wife is planning to start her studying for next September, October. So she was doing a harder job than me, taking care of kids. Otherwise, we are good. Our life is very good. comparing with our life 6-7 years ago, yeah, it's not comparable. Everything is okay. And thanks for Temple Shalom again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good to see you. Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
Shabbat Shalom for everyone.
Just right into the mic. It's hard to hear.
Okay, I will. Yeah. Just I wanted to say thank you to Temple Shalom, because they give me the opportunity to get a Canadian experience, because I just worked for a few months and it was really a great experience for me. I really enjoyed, and I meet so many people. I improved my English so much, and I meet so many people. I had a friend, yeah. And as Bauer says, now I have a plan. After next September, when Ahmed go to the daycare, I can now study and just get a certificate and find a new job. And it's awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sheila. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Careful with the shoelaces. So there you have it, and we have more to celebrate too. So tomorrow morning we will continue with this wonderful celebration, not of the work that we do, but of the people that are touched by the work that we do. And Naomi and Keith will be here with Oranus and Mushtaq and their families, which have been reunited, and we'll hear more about that story tomorrow during our service. So I hope that you'll continue to join us for that. We're going to continue on page 586 as we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כחומונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. I'm realizing something now as I was watching some of you struggling to hear as we were speaking that I should have made an announcement earlier on. We are testing out a new system in our congregation made possible by our Temple Sholom Legacy Endowment Fund called Listen Everywhere. And so there is an app that you can download on your phone, and we can help you do that, that will allow you to hear what's going on through your hearing aids in a direct connection with, for those of you who have assisted listening devices, I'm sorry I didn't tell you before the service, but if you see Shay, who's at our tech desk, or Marielle after our service, we can get you hooked up, literally hooked up, for that in the future. We're still testing it out. We haven't purchased it yet. We have another system we're going to try also. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that beforehand. I will add that to the list of many things I need to do tshuva for on the High Holy Days. We turn now our thoughts to loved ones who are not here, but whose memory is always with us. Before we recite Kaddish, a poem, page 583. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as they live, we too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. On this Shabbat, we recall those who died during this past week or these past 30 days, whose families are in the midst of Shiva and Shloshim. As I read the name of your loved one, if you could rise so that we might comfort you in our midst here or at home. Rhoda Brody, Jay Denbo, Joan Fader, Ann Hirsch, Robert James Jones, Sherry Klein, Eric Schneider. And those for whom the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of your loved one, is on this Shabbat, if you too could rise as I read their name. Joseph Moshe Abramovich, Leon Burlow, Dorothy Blasberg, Libby Brown, Eve Busky, Alex Cohen, Bessie Coheen, Aviva Colley, Clarissa Dozer, Meta Echt, Harley Felstein, Hyman Gunn, Siddy Hartman, Sarah Iswelovich, Suzanne Jeremy, Leanna Kahaya, Marceli Korkozansky, Ronald Lazar, Dorothy Levine, Elva Lewis, Hendrika Lugman Daly, Teddy Margulies, Leonard Marks, Sam Martin, Sandra Nayberg, Sophie Noble, Joyce Ornstein, Madeline Panoff, Agnes Parker, Iz Paskoff, Mitchell Power, Paul Pincus, Lily Polanski, Elaine Rostaker, Albert Seelig, Nathaniel Shapira, Mason Slutsky, Lenny Smith, Clara Snyderman, Clara Sobansky, Bess Stewart, Pauline Sugarman, Rachel Tesler, Sheila Werb, Bernice Winston, Mark Zlotnick. If there are others who've come to say Kaddish, names I've missed or mispronounced, if you could rise and call them out in the midst of our congregation as well. Looking around our congregation, we see so many who have stood in mourning. We don't want them to stand alone. So we rise now, standing by their side, providing the comfort of our presence as we turn to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yeruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'la'amei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yit adar v'yit aleh v'yit alal shemei d'kudisha b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiron be'alma v'yimaru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yimaru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn comfort the bereaved among us, and we say together, Amen. We're going to join together in Kiddush and Motzi, and then our closing song will remain standing. I see Mary Kleiner standing in the back. Tomorrow is Sarah Kleiner's. Is she standing behind you? No. Tomorrow is, that's a different child. One of five. It could have been any one of five. Tomorrow is Sarah Kleiner's birthday. We're going to celebrate that tomorrow also. So lots of celebrations here at the synagogue. Just dropped everything. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו מצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה ורצון התחיל לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim, to life. And it's a challah. Could have been anything under there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We join with Cantor Tausig in our closing song.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Yam da 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 shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Tomorrow morning Torah study at 8:30, services at 10 a.m. Shabbat shalom.